Deep within the spiraling lower corridors of the habitat, Tony A finds himself shadowed by stillness until a figure appears. Cloaked in drift skin and crowned with coral dust, this is the hermit, a being of exile and wisdom who does not speak, but draws equations in the sand using a crab claw. No name is given, no title claimed. Each line carved is a resonance. Each spiral is a memory left behind. This is not prophecy, it is pattern. It is the molting trail of those who survived collapse by knowing when to walk sideways. Key developments. Tony observes that each pattern drawn echoes a collapsed or surviving timeline. The hermit's wisdom is not verbal, it is spatial, geometric, and entangled through symbolic shell movement. One spiral marks a regenerative cycle embedded in the ark's fractal lattice. By studying it, Tony gains a potential path to recalibrate the ark core using memory patterns alone. The hermit explains, without words, that to move through time is to molt. To evolve is to leave behind form but not essence. Tony is faced with a quiet test. Will he observe, respect, and integrate the hermit's spiraling path, or will his impatience cause him to interrupt the silence with ego and doubt? If he listens, the hermit offers the regeneration spiral, initiating the ark's hidden reboot sequence for future stages. If he resists or mocks, the hermit sheds its final shell and disappears into the dimensional crust. The corridor collapses behind him, cutting off Tony from the regeneration thread. While mapping food rations in the lower decks of the sila, Tony A stumbles upon a sealed bioluminescent chamber labeled Ark Cold Storage B. Inside, a massive ancient hermit crab, glowing, sentient, and humming the Ark code in reverse. "Please," vibrates the ancient hermit crab in a low, resonant tone. Tony, unsure if it's sacred or snackable, calls for a diplomatic vote. ALT. Tony fires up the kitchen. Blah appears mid-butter emergency to mediate between timelines and species. The Sila's cafeteria descends into metaphysical chaos as the question is posed, deity or dinner? Ark code. Inversion. The crab's reverse chant initiates a low-level bleed pulse across the ship's food matrix, converting condiments into temporary dimensional portals. Quantum recipe scrolls. Cooking the crab causes its flesh to unwrap into edible scrolls, culinary artifacts from collapsed timelines. Cafeteria coup. If spared, the crab commandeers the kitchen, establishing a new food hierarchy aboard the Sila and enforcing bizarre rituals like pre-meal interpretive dance. The crew must vote on the fate of the creature. Cook it. Gain access to dimensional scroll recipes and absurd culinary boosts, but trigger a bleed-induced hunger effect in future stages. Spare it. Accept the crab's rise as bleed chef supreme, ceding all culinary authority to a crustacean deity who rates every meal with a claw gesture. The absurdity may determine the morale or madness of the next arc stage. The arc enters a region of dimensional slush, where gravity spirals and time collapses inward. There, a vast hermit crab-shaped superstructure emerges, mistaken at first for a decaying satellite shell. But the engineers discover otherwise. This is the hermit crab habitat, a fractal memory archive where every swirling groove in the shell's design encodes a previous arc configuration. The crew stands divided. Some want to preserve it, revering it as a sacred feedback mechanism, a recursive arc record keeper. Others believe it's dead weight, limiting future builds by trapping them in obsolete recursion. Tony A runs a curvature frequency scan and finds Chamber 27, an embedded sub-timeline containing Book 3, Scene 2, a moment where he was never born. Deleting the habitat would permanently erase this alternate version. Key developments: fractal shell archives. Each spiral on the shell maps a full prior arc architecture in dimensional harmonic layers. Curvature frequency detection. Tony A calculates the trajectory of recursive timelines inside, detecting non-linear timelines lost through molting cycles, like skin a timeline sheds. Timeline molting theory. Each arc evolves by shedding obsolete realities. The habitat stores these echoes physically, making it both memory and tomb. Major conflict or decision. Should the crew preserve the hermit crab habitat as a sacred time matrix or delete it to free system memory and allow for structural upgrades? Choice 1. Preserve the habitat, unlocking access to forgotten Ark schematics, potentially restoring quantum mechanics lost in past dimensions. Choice 2. Delete it, freeing memory bandwidth and allowing for Ark evolution, but erasing the only record of an unmanifested Tony. Welcome to top-shell multiversal cuisine, I say excitedly. With intrigue, I announce that the Ark stutters mid-jump and resets reality into a cooking competition across dimensions. Welcome, sailors of taste, to the multiversal cuisine. Grab your forks and adjust gravity, Tony A. exclaims fervently. Gabriella composes a score using grilled crab clicks and underwater jazz flutes in an artistic manner. Blah. The legendary alien judge ranks dishes by emotional resonance and pH balance, mysteriously. I am impressed as the hermit crab chef, Chef Claus von Molt, prepares a 7-dimensional bisque using entropy-stabilized butter. An emoji mistake triggers a formal crab war in Timeline 27, I declare dramatically. Diplomatic summits fail when served with garlic. Broadcast reality. Reset. A bleed glitch merges into the arc, replacing the plot with an unending cooking segment, I inform you. Meme diplomacy failure. A wrong emoji ignites a crustacean conflict across oceans, I report. Urgently, I convey that the cast must choose. Embrace the absurdity of a never-ending cooking feast or face the pan-dimensional hunger wars.
The Ark of Reimagined Echoes by Nada Stroll. Read free on Amazon now.
The crew steps into a capsule already humming, suspended by strands of starlight and unseen forces. This is not an elevator in the usual sense. It descends from orbit, anchored not to gravity, but to faith in upward movement. As it begins to climb, Earth rises overhead like a mirrored cradle. The arc, barely complete, recedes below like a memory being edited in reverse. Every pulse of the tether resonates with celestial math, invisible equations keeping reality aligned. The elevator ride becomes a meditative experience, a vertical parable in motion. You must believe in the string's direction before you can trust where it takes you. Key developments: celestial tether mechanics. The tether is a harmonic construct, a cosmic rail of Satonium weave designed not just to carry bodies, but align their frequencies through ascent. Spatial inversion effect. Riders experience visual inversion as they ascend. Earth appears above, Ark below, testing one's inner orientation to truth and direction. Intention-based. Elevation. The ride stabilizes only when all occupants internally agree to ascend. Doubt or dissonance causes nausea, time loop symptoms, or looping floors. Major conflict or decision. The passengers must either embrace the directional paradox and align their inner intent, or resist the inversion, triggering vertigo and gravitational déjà vu. This moment becomes a test of trust in metaphysical orientation over physical space. If aligned in harmony, the elevator ascends to the synchronicity hub, a floating nexus of navigational systems tied to belief. If disrupted, the elevator loops or stutters, trapping the crew in a sensory echo chamber until resonance is restored. The crew's plan to ascend peacefully into orbit goes wrong in spectacular fashion. The orbital elevator, built to glide survivors into low Earth alignment, malfunctions. Instead of lifting objects up, it starts launching them down. Cows, time scrolls, and forgotten Martian soil samples plummet from the sky, setting the stage for chaos. Say Tony A., undeterred by the malfunction, seizes the moment to host a live-streamed interdimensional game show called Yo-Yo Orbit Live. Welcome to Yo-Yo Orbit Live, where the stakes are as high as the cows are low, Tony A. announces enthusiastically. Meanwhile, ALT Tony, always quick to capitalize, markets the spiraling cable as a bleed slide, claiming quantum friction makes your soul tingle. Experience the bleed slide. Quantify your friction, let your soul tingle, urges Alt Tony, with salesman-like flair. Then, a duck launches. It phases through 7 dimensions, quacks in Latin, and disappears. Everyone claps. The mysterious duck quacks in Latin. Quackus quaccum. Key developments arise. The orbital elevator cable begins working in reverse, flinging mass toward Earth at increasing velocity. As a side effect, gravitational meme looping causes Setonium-based thought forms to manifest as usable portals. A Setonium core yo-yo, triggered by a failed stabilizer reel, disrupts navigation systems, launching commentary across timelines. The crew must make a major decision. They can either embrace the chaos using gravitational humor and absurdism to navigate orbit loops and unlock shortcut arcs between Book 5 and Book 11, or attempt control, trying to stabilize the system and risk triggering the Setonium yo-yo's critical mass rebound, potentially knocking out systems for the rest of the Ark stage. Their decision will determine if this becomes a disaster or a multi-timeline amusement park. The forces of eternally entangled records loom over, heightening the suspense. This page AB code reference. 0x2.0x18.090.004. At first glance, the orbital elevator appears defective, stuck mid-ascent, wires unresponsive, pulleys vibrating like off-tempo prayer bells. But the truth lies beneath. The planet itself is tilted at 92.3 degrees, a mere 2.3 degrees off true perpendicular, yet catastrophic on a quantum scale. This subtle deviation shifts the gravitational pull across all anchor nodes, causing dimensional shearing. The Ark's elevator isn't broken, it's obeying a false angle of reality. The task falls to the quantum engineers and harmonic surveyors to recalibrate the Setonium tether to the updated orbital frequency. But there's a catch. They only get one correction before harmonic memory snaps into a Mobius loop. Key developments: gravity axis correction. Engineers discover the planet's tilt alters harmonic ascent patterns, distorting linear movement and tether length. Setonium harmonic recalibration. Using golden ratio waveforms, they attempt to stretch the tether frequency to match the new orbital signature, but feedback is nonlinear. Temporal Mobius risk. If improperly calculated, the elevator folds into itself, turning upward movement into recursive time descent. Major conflict or decision. The Ark crew must finalize the tether's new orbital sync ratio. Either correct the offset, aligning the Setonium elevator path with cosmic true vertical and unlocking stable ascension, or fail to compensate, and the elevator spirals into Mobius recursion, becoming a temporal trap looping its passengers across echo chambers of scenes already deleted from the universe. The question becomes, can you trust math when the angle of the world itself is lying? The final ascent ends in a paradox. The summit is the basement. The ceiling is the stage. Tony A is sideways, giving a motivational speech to nobody in particular. The crew drifts in different directions, up, down, left, memory. A vending machine hisses quietly, dripping tea upward into a gravity-challenged teacup held by Gabriella's hologram. The earth claps. Say, Tony A appears on a hovering spiral staircase that doesn't go anywhere, turns toward the fourth wall, and breaks it gently. This isn't the first time we climbed the wrong ladder to the right destiny, say Tony amuses philosophically. No alarms, just applause. Cameras float, walls narrate, and sense makes none. Climber, the elevator's AI, begins singing every character's regrets as musical theater. Accepting the absurd unlocks the timeline's cinematic spatial command, allowing characters to exist in any scene orientation, both figurative and literal. Accept the upside down. Characters gain metaspatial consciousness, able to control entrances, exits, and audience alignment across books. Resist the inversion. Climber begins narrating everyone's worst mistakes with Broadway-level drama. Even Say Tony A starts crying. Sideways.
The Ark of Reimagined Echoes by Natastroll. Read free on Amazon now.